But for those who don't know me yet, so I would like to introduce myself. I work in the south of this country, which is 2,000 kilometers away from here. And today, because I'm the first speaker of the Vietnamese team, I want to take this chance to welcome you again to Hanoi. I don't live here, but I had a very personal relationship with this city. I was born here 40 years ago, and I moved to the south 25 years ago following my dad. I'm going to show you a few pictures of Hanoi 25 years ago when I left this city. You got to see here, it's a tram. 25 years ago, this is a very common public transportation in this city. And if you're lucky, you can still find those railroads near the central lake, the Sword Lake in the city. And there were a lot of bicycles there that day. And just a few were motorbikes. You see those difference from 25 years. And at that day, when you have a motorbike, you're a rich man. You can compare it like a Ferrari or a Bentley nowadays. And this kind of flower is a very special flower for this city. And it blossoms when the Lunar New Year comes. And you can see on this road, there's a lot of pink paper on the road, which is the firecracker. We used to have to use firecracker to celebrate Lunar New Year. But this thing was banned 15 years ago. So, you just see this full picture. It's 25 years ago when I left the city. I'm going to show you one picture I just received 2 days ago of Hanoi. And this is a picture. Today you see Professor Nguyen Nhu, Professor here, sit at the same place as Obama had his speeches. So today, Hanoi changed. It has become a place to see each other and to cooperate. So I would like to take this chance again to welcome you to Hanoi, and please explore the city that I love a lot, and you will be regretted. Now, we're back to the main topic today. My topic today is about diabetic macular edema and the photocoagulation role in this in DME nowadays. As you already know, DME accounts for 30% of all patients have diabetic retinopathy more than 40 years old. And this accounts for 90% of visual impairment in the eye. So this is huge. The number is huge, and it's very important to deal with it. One of the first trials to treat DME using photocoagulation happened in the 80s by Dr. Oak and his colleagues. And I had a chance to personally meet Dr. Oak 2 times when he visited Vietnam, and he's a great man. Basically, this study is a prospective randomized single center enrollment in the 80s, which compared modified Greek laser with natural history in diffuse DME. And inclusion criterion, of course, it is diffuse DME and BCVA between 2032 to 2200. And here is how we treat the patient. They do 100 micron spot, apply 2 to 3 rays around the perifoveal region. And then 200 microns, several rounds on the diffuse leakage. And on top of that, they do additional 200 micron spot in the areas of obvious focal leakage. And this is the study definitions. What is diffuse macular edema? If you see 2 dB of retinal thickening, and it must be macular central involvement. And he defined visual improvement is improved 2 lines, and visual worsening is losing 2 lines. And he has 92 patients, 82 patients treated, and 78 patients observed. And you can see the diagram here. You can see here the proportion of eye that have visual improvement. And you definitely see laser do something better for the patient who is on the observation arm. And here, this is the proportion of losing vision. This is the arm of laser treatment, and you can see it dramatically reduced the number of patients who lose 2 lines. But patient complain. Even the vision improved. Patient complain about percentage glaucoma, haze or film over treated eye. If the vision is still good, then they prefer the untreated eye. But if the vision is worsened than 20/80, they prefer the treated eye. So, laser still have its problem. But the major stone in laser treatment is in ETDRS. And the study design is prospective randomized multicenter, and the enrollment is in the 80s. And the study question, there are 3 questions. One is the efficacy of photocoagulation in DME. Second, the role of aspirin. And the third is when to perform PRP. And the inclusion criteria is DME in FFA or fundus photo, or BCVA at least 2200. And they define macular edema here, retinal thickening at or within 1 dB of the macular center, or you see definite harm exudate in this region. But in this study, this is the most important part, criterion of the study, that's clinical macular edema, CSME. So it is defined as retinal thickening within 500 micron of the macular center, or you see the harm exudate within 500 micron and accompanied by thickening of rotization retina. Or you see a retinal thickening more than 1 dB within 1 dB of the macular center. It's important because the ETDRS will use this criteria to separate 2 groups of patients. Here is the randomization protocol for the ETDRS. So the patient, for the first randomization, the patient will receive immediate photocoagulation. The other arm will have referral or photocoagulation. In the treatment arm, there's a second randomization. One arm is PRP and then follow-up focal. And the other arm is immediate focal coagulation. And the deferred group, we do PRP only when high-risk DR develops. And this is a percentage of visual loss at these 3 lines. And you will see that the treatment arm is doing better than the observation arm. Now, this is important because here you see the result from the not clinical significant macular edema. And this is the result from CSME. If it is not clinical significant, the observed arm and the treatment arm pretty much the same. There's no difference. But if there's CSME, then the treatment arm is better than the observation arm. If you subset the patient based on visual acuity, you're going to see that if the visual acuity is more than 20/20, which is very high vision, high visual acuity, and there's no difference. Or the visual acuity is very low, lower than 20, less than 2000 something, then there's no difference too. So laser work well around this range from 2050 to 2080, 2030 to 2040, and maybe 2025 to 2020. So this is a good range for laser treatment. The second question that ETDRS responds is that aspirin has no effect on older adulthood. There's no effect on development of high-risk DR. There's no effect on visual loss, vitreous hemorrhages, rate of vitrectomy, or severity or duration of vitreous or preretinal hemorrhages. And when to perform PRP? when you have proliferative DR, or you have severe non-proliferative DR in type 2 diabetes, and other factors too, such as poor compliance with follow-up in handicap tract extraction or pregnancy, and status of fellow arm. So, the HRS group published this report number 2, which tells us the guideline, how to treat the patient. So, here's the guideline. Who are we going to treat? When the patient has CSME. Where to treat? The area of diffuse retinal thickening, and it's about 500 to 3,000 microns from macular center. And how we treat it, we treat one burn with the part, or focal treatment on focal leakage. And when you repeat it at 3 to 4 months follow-up, and if you have persistent CSME. So one rationale behind this is there are theories why laser work. Even though we know laser 50 years more, we still don't know exactly why laser work. We just have some theories, and those theories. In focal laser, the theory is that's direct closure of leaking vascular anomalies by laser-induced endovascular thrombosis or heat-induced contraction of vessel wall. And the mechanism of grid laser is a large unknown. It's multifactorial and unclear, and it could be photoreceptor destruction that increase inner retinal oxygenation, vasoconstriction, decrease retinal leakage, improve inner blood retinal barrier, and it could be debridement of dysfunctioning artery that enhance outer blood retinal barrier, and it may decrease total lid area of leakage. So those are theories behind laser treatment. In the last 8 to 10 years, you see so many trials treating DME because we have new modality to treat. We have anti-VEGF and we have steroid, and the result is very good. So is it a game over of laser treatment? Is it game over for laser? You're going to see. So we see this trial. I will take an example of this trial. That's Rise and Ride trial. 36-month phase 3 clinical trial. You see this is randomization, 3 groups, sham, ranibizumab 0.3, ranibizumab 0.5, with 24-month control treatment period. And after that, the sham injection group would change to ranibizumab 0.5. And this is the result. For 24 months, you definitely see that the ranibizumab group is much better than the control. Both Rise and Ride, it's the same result. And this result is, this improvement is maintained through 36 months. It's pretty good. If you inject every month, then you would expect this kind of change in 36 months. After 34 months, this sham group will be added ranibizumab. And you see there's some improvement, but it never can catch up with the early treatment arm at 36 months. So, based on this study, you will see that ranibizumab is much better than doing nothing. And it's better if you use medication earlier. And there are a lot of studies that shows ranibizumab is better than laser treatment. So you can conclude that anti-VEGF therapy is superior to laser, and late treatment with anti-VEGF have worse long-term visual outcome. Now, is it game over for laser? Let's see. Let's take a look at all of these studies. And one of the things that I would like to show is that the inclusion criteria of all of this study is around 50 or 60 letters, ETRS letters. So the inclusion criteria for all those clinical trials for anti-VEGF therapy is to select patients with visual acuity is less than 20/30 or 20/32 or something. And all these trials include patients with macula involved edema. So in that case, laser is still good. It's still the golden treatment for non-center involving DME or center involving DME with BCVA for at least 2030. Okay. So, is there any application of laser? Of course. Let's take a look at this. In Ryzen Rifle data, you could see the first time to the first macro laser treatment by month 36. 30% of this group, of 0.5 group, and 40% of 0.3 milligram ranibizumab group still need laser. So I would say 1/3 of the patient after 36 months still needs some kind of treatment because anti-VEGF is not enough. So laser is a good choice for rescue treatment. The protocol T also shows the same thing. Over 2 years, in the aflibercept group, you still need 41% laser treatment after over 2 years. And with bevacizumab is 64%, ranibizumab is 52%. So rescue treatment, laser is good. But the question is, when you do laser, whether you do it right away when the patient comes to you, or you defer laser. And Restore shows that if you do prompt laser or you don't do laser, it doesn't do much difference. So laser doesn't help if you do it at baseline. But we will always try to subset the patient. As yesterday, Professor Francesco Bandello said, we always try to subset the patient because we don't treat patient as a whole. We treat patient individually. So we try to separate a small group of patients which is more suitable to certain kind of modality of treatment. So in this protocol I of the RCR.net, they divide the two groups of patients. One is with good visual acuity, it's more than 20/50. And in this case, you will see that the prompt laser group is a little bit better than the deferred group, but it's not statistically significant. But it has a tendency that the prompt laser has better outcome. For patients that have visual acuity less than 20/50, the story is different. If you delay the laser, the patient better, the visual acuity is better, and this is statistically significant. So if the patient has visual acuity less than 20/50, we should delay the laser treatment. There's another important factor we should consider is that the number of injections, whether it is affected by laser treatment. And you will see in protocol I that 17, the median injection is 17 in the deferred group and 13 in prompt group. So I would say if you have a very good visual acuity, more than 20/50, and you want to reduce the number of injections, I would recommend you to do prompt laser. But if the visual acuity is less than 20/50, then you delay laser. And again, protocol I shows that 44% of patients still require laser over 5 years. So, the laser we need for rescue macular laser. But the criteria to do the rescue macular laser is not well documented. If you follow a certain trial and you follow that guideline, for example, you follow protocol T, then if the patient has persistent DME after 24 weeks, which is 6 months, then you could do the laser treatment for them. For Vivid and Vista, it requires a patient that has vision decline before you do the photocoagulation. So it's up to you. And obviously, in Vivid and Vista, the percentage of patients who need laser is much reduced because they need more criteria for applying the laser. Only 10 to 16% of patients in Vivid and Vista will need laser. And there are also other situations when you would do laser too. For example, if there's contraindication for anti-VEGF therapy, you do laser, of course. Or there's poor patient, of course in our country, some patients cannot afford for the treatment. So you have poor patient, you can offer them laser treatment, or you don't have anti-VEGF therapy, laser is good choice for them. Or if the patient compliance is not very good, if you see the patient and you don't expect to see him again, and please do laser for him, don't do anti-VEGF therapy. And after you have the dose indication and how you will do it, and this is a very interesting article from Professor Paul Bichon and Professor Nguyen Nhu, published 2014, it shows us the pathway. So you assess the patient by clinically and OCT. If there's mechanical traction, here you have VMT, then you could consider vitrectomy. If DME with not involved, center not involved, then you do laser. If center involved and VA from 2030 to 2020, then you could do laser. Or if it works, then you do anti-VEGF therapy. I myself personally do not do laser therapy for patients in this group because laser therapy is a permanent change to the retina. I only do laser therapy when, in this group, when I could see there's responsible cluster of microaneurysm in that area, which is correspond to the vasogenic group that Professor Bandolo yesterday talked about. And in that case, I will do the laser. Other than that, I will follow up the patient. And of course, I hope that with the control of blood pressure, blood sugar, lipid, the patient will get better. And after that, what you do is still not clear what you need to do. I mean, the algorithm, it also depends on how you follow the clinical trial. For example, BRCR.net, if you have the treatment for DME, and you assess 1 month after initial injection. And this initial injection is quite different from other trials. Protocol I requires 4 injections, loading injection. 4 injections is not 3 injections as other studies. And if the patient doesn't reach 20/20, or there's still fluid in the retina, then you have to do 2 more injections. So you would say if the patient doesn't reach 20/20, or if the fluid doesn't go away, you will need at least 6 injections in this kind of protocol. And then if you're improving, you inject. If no, you return and inject. If it works, you inject. If no, you follow up and double up the follow-up interval up to 4 months. In SCORE, you loading with 3 injections, and this study based the follow-up criteria based on the visual acuity. Then if the stable VA achieved, then you can suspend treatment and return to monthly follow-up. And if it works, you reinitiate the injection. If no, you can continue with injection per month. So that's how we work with the laser treatment. So please wake up and thank you for your attention. Yes.
Can you, since you went through all these studies thoroughly and you were able to study these cases very well, can you tell us or try to characterize the type of patient that needed later on rescue treatment? What did they have? To be able to understand what patients could benefit most from laser. Were you able, did anybody do any study, like a subset or sub-analysis study for which patients had or were able to benefit more from laser? Why some did benefit, others only anti-VEGF? Like the 30% we're talking about.
Yes. To my knowledge, there's no clear clinical trial in that subset group. But based on the studies that we know, then if the patient has focal leakage and visual acuity is pretty good, it's more than 20/50, then it's very good indication for the laser treatment. That's what I would go for.
So visual.
Yeah. Focal leakage 20/50 or more.
for example, the patient that still did not benefit from anti-VEGF, why did they do the laser? Why did they, just because of the time, or just because of thickness, or just because maybe the loosening of letters? What was their criteria for choosing those patients? Was it only time, because over time they deferred it?
I think it's basically because at that time anti-VEGF therapy is not enough. I mean, you still see persistent macular edema. So you could choose laser therapy or you could add on steroid if you want to. So that's up to you. There's no clear right line on this. But because laser treatment is kind of gold standard before, so if you want to add on kind of a golden standard treatment, you can add on steroid if you want to.
Okay, let me explain in a better way.
Yes.
What were the characteristics for patients that were chosen for laser?
One patient.
Yes, you mentioned persistent DME, visual epic, but there is nothing else that said based on.
I think that's the only guideline. So if there's no more questions, thank you.